It's funny, I feel like this year has really been the breakout year for the world's favorite buzzword, that is AI. But to be honest, I'm already tired of it. Want a new fridge? It has built-in AI. Taking a bus to work? It's being driven by AI. Listening to your favorite song? An AI is analyzing you to determine that based on your music preferences, you're actually 89 years old. No, seriously, my listening age is 89 years old. Can you believe it? AI has seemingly just been slapped on top of everything we interact with now. TV, food, you name it. It doesn't mean that you can actually notice the changes right now. It just means that it has AI now. But one industry that has always seemed like an obvious target for AI integration has been gaming. Every big player in the gaming industry has pushed really hard to integrate their software with AI, and in most cases replace people with AI. When I saw the news that Microsoft-owned Activision had admitted to using generative AI to create digital art for the new Call of Duty game just months after 1,900 staff were laid off from the company, my immediate thought was, this is it. This is how gaming dies, with the thunderous applause of shareholders looking to make an extra buck. That was, until I played Dispatch, one of the contenders for Game of the Year and a return to the glory days of decision-based story games. Dispatch showed the world the true value of human-made games. And after playing that amazing game, I realized that even though we are in store for a bleak future of AI slop, I think human creativity in gaming will not only survive, but enter one of the greatest eras we have ever seen. Before we dive into that though, let's look at what's actually going on with AI in video games. The most well-known example of the AI label being slapped on top of gaming is Copilot, mainly because it's Microsoft's own software. It's an AI-powered chatbot designed to assist gamers as they play. And while this spin of putting AI on your Xbox sounds great to shareholders, there really isn't an actual application for it. Microsoft's standard use case for Copilot on Xbox suggests that it should be used on a second screen so it doesn't distract from gameplay. Since when did kids have two TVs side by side? Even the questions used in the marketing could easily be asked and answered far more quickly and accurately if you sought out a YouTuber or a game journalist or someone who has actually played the game. Even the recommendations it provides are biased towards Microsoft developed games. A bias that has been heavily publicized and goes beyond just the chatbot. And it's clear that decision makers behind this rollout didn't really think about this much either.
Since announcing it, we've been experimenting with how to make Copilot more useful. It's like they didn't figure out how it would be useful at the time they announced it. It's like, this is what we're doing.
They don't have a use case for it, and yet they cut 4% of their global workforce to replace them with it. Not only that, the current use cases that they do provide for Copilot can already be done with their own software.
You know, one of the things we care a lot about at Xbox is game preservation. And I think about an opportunity to have models learn about older games that were maybe tied to unique pieces of hardware where that engine on that hardware is kind of time will erode the amount of hardware that's out there that can actually play a game.
Right now, Copilot is avoidable and seems pretty harmless, but there is a future coming where this will be forced down gamers' throats. Another common development tool now is Claude Code. This tool has been used by everyone and has created the movement of vibe coders. It's a tool that transforms text prompts into functional code and applications. While this on the surface has the potential to replace a large number of software engineers, right now it's more commonly seen as a tool to help engineers rather than replace them. AI automation will be an implementation that applies to more menial sectors such as customer service and moderation of online services. However, this will take away jobs from this industry. And more times than not, AI moderation is very faulty. I mean, here in Australia, we've just enacted the world's first social media ban for those under 16. And not even a couple hours into the scheme, kids were passing age verification checks by using pictures of dogs. So yeah, most of the implementations right now are kinda general. But the more niche into gaming you go, the weirder and frankly more dystopian it gets. Recently on Marvel Rivals, many players started reporting weird moments in matches where other players appeared to be moving like bots. Turns out the developers implemented an AI-powered bot that would inject itself into games without disclosing its status and projecting itself itself as a human player. But while Marvel Rivals have AI bots acting like human players, the voice lines for each character are still being recorded by voice actors. However, in the recent title Arc Raiders, Embark Studios have been using AI to recreate the voices of their voice actors.
Paying voice actors who agree to sign on to the project with the intention of having their voices used to train AI. Allegedly in the name of expediting the process in what would ideally be of benefit to both the studio and the voice actors who would continue to get paid every time their voices are used for new voice lines, without the need to go into the recording booth again. The specifics of those deals, unfortunately, aren't very public, and in my opinion, the quality that we get from those is not good.
AI has got some really useful tools, and it's here to stay. There's no arguing with that. But when it's used to replicate, either characters or real people without consent or permission, that's not a difficult stance for me. I'm dead against it.
Regardless of whether consent is gained or not, there is a clear message that this choice made by studios sends to its players. We would rather sacrifice the quality of the gaming experience for an extra buck. And that same mentality has been applied to their in-game designs. Activision admitted to players that they had been using generative AI to design a loading image as well as other in-game cosmetics and designs. All while, again, laying off staff in the process. Lower quality, more money. Now, I know that all these applications that I've mentioned have all had negative sentiments, and that some, in fact, seem completely useless. But that isn't to say that there aren't any applications that could actually be, dare I say, good. For starters, one feature that utilizes AI is live retexturing. This is a targeted visual change that can transform games from somewhat outdated graphics to a much improved version. Or it could take one art style for design and completely change it to whatever you want. Sure, studios could just remake the entire game in that art style, but if you want a small scale change just for you, this is a pretty revolutionary technology. And the tool that I think will change open world gaming forever is Google's Genie model that can generate a fully rendered and detailed world from just a prompt. I know that might sound sci-fi and pretty unreal. I thought the same. And then I saw the demonstrations and I realized that using this tool, a one-to-one digital replica of Earth, is probably only a few years away. This tool could be used by studios like CD Projekt Red to develop an entire cyberpunk world rather than just Night City. And I think a lot of gamers would be interested in that. Even if there are certain ethical dilemmas about how these models are trained and where they get their data from. After seeing this, I thought, wow, AI might be a great tool for major studios to use after all. And then I saw this. This is an ad for a new mobile Guitar Hero game. And as you can tell pretty clearly, this is completely AI generated. But it gets worse. This is an ad for a game that doesn't even exist. It is an ad for a game that doesn't even exist. When asked about this ad, Activision justified its creation by saying that it was designed to gauge interest, because I'm sure they really want their fingers on the pulse for a Guitar Hero game that doesn't even have a guitar. And from here, it gets even stranger. Companies are developing models that can fully generate games, but in demonstrations, they just call it video. I mean, I wouldn't even call it that. I think it's just mush, to be honest. Aside from executives thinking gamers will just eat up AI slop. I mean, literally, they said that. That's what a former Square Enix executive actually thinks. There are even more harmful applications that are purposefully kept away from public discussion. Dandy Andy made a video recently discussing AI in video games. And one use he discussed was how companies were training AI models to track player behavior.
So imagine modern AI-driven games that don't just respond to your actions, okay? But what if they could learn from you? They analyze you, predict your next actions, and adapt based on vast amounts of behavioral data. AI systems can track not just what players do, but how they do it. And that how is very important. We're talking reaction times here, decision patterns, emotional responses, and social behaviors. This level of precision and behavioral profiling raises some real serious questions, guys, about consent, data usage, and who owns the insights extracted from your gameplay. As Northeastern University researchers wrote in their October 2024 study, data is incredibly valuable, and that kind of information might not just be used for for retraining a model. Gaming companies could potentially sell players' psychological profiles to advertisers, use them to optimize addictive monetization mechanics, or share them with third parties without meaningful transparency.
AI is moving at such a fast rate that any form of safety for its consumers, artists, and developers is being completely disregarded. It doesn't matter if it's illegal. These companies will make it legal. And as much as consumers want to fight it, AI will fill our marketplaces, redefine our games, and sell our lives to others for a profit. Very much a Ready Player One scenario. Developers at big studios who want to make games in a human way will be replaced by AI. And although these studios claim it will improve productivity, it in fact does the opposite. You can't ever increase productivity when one person takes the workload of two, regardless of if they now use ChatGPT. As much as we will all want to fight this, I don't think there's really much of a chance of people thinking with their wallets being overpowered by those thinking with their hearts. How are games made with heart and human creativity ever going to win against the Goliath of investment into this AI-infused gaming of the future? Truthfully, I had no idea. And then I played Dispatch. I cannot remember the last time I connected to a game as strongly as I did with Dispatch. Although I was late to the party, I loved the Telltale games. As soon as I came across a playthrough of The Walking Dead, I was hooked. The Wolf Among Us, Batman, even Detroit Become Human, which isn't a Telltale game, was so inspiring to play and watch. It felt to me like the invention of a new medium of storytelling, one where you felt immersed into a character-based story. And those type of games are few and far between. And when Telltale collapsed, I was heartbroken. I still think about that teaser for The Wolf Among Us 2 and what could have been. But as soon as I saw the trailer for Dispatch, my hopes got up, and after playing those first 2 episodes, I was hooked again. Dispatch is set in a world where superheroes, supervillains, and regular people coexist normally. The story follows Robert Robertson, the former superhero Mecha Man, as he rebuilds his life following the destruction of his mecha suit. During this rock bottom, he is approached by superhero Blonde Blazer, who offers to fix his suit, and in exchange, he works for her employers at the Superhero Dispatch Network as a dispatcher. Similar to how in our world we have dispatchers for emergency services, Robert's job is the same, but for superheroes. As he joins the force, he is assigned to the Z Team, a group of villains turned heroes who have also hit their rock bottoms and are looking to turn their lives around. This creates a great dynamic between Robert and his team, where he is looking to mentor and help his team to become superheroes, while his team helps him find meaning in his life as Robert Robertson, when all he has ever known is being Mecha Man. It's a story that examines redemption, purpose, and what it truly means to be a hero. And I know that right now it can feel like superhero stories have been done to death, but what makes Dispatch so special is that when shows like The Boys and Invincible focus their stories on being superheroes, Dispatch leans into the humanity of its characters. Each character has their own backstory and trauma that lead them to this point. And we as players not only get to see where they start, but also how they develop. We get to see a bunch of villains organically turn into a family, and all in beautifully animated cutscenes, another one of this game's strong points. Where other games use animated sequences as loading scenes between entering different game levels, the cutscenes make this game. And to keep players engaged between these cutscenes, Dispatch has 2 mini-games to play. One being the actual dispatch shifts Robert does. Each shift you are presented with problems around the city, and it is your role as dispatcher to assign members of the Z Team to handle those problems. Each hero possesses unique attributes and abilities, and each scenario has different requirements in order to handle. So to complete each scenario, you must know each of your heroes well, and select your heroes carefully. You can upgrade the Z Team's abilities as you progress, and during the shift, you can actually hear each character interact with each other and learn more about them. During shifts and sometimes in cutscenes, Robert will have to hack into certain things. And with it, there is also another fun but smaller minigame to play. But that's not the reason why I'm talking about Dispatch. It's not the reason why I'm bringing up this game in a discussion about AI in gaming. What drew me to Dispatch was how human it felt to play it. For everything that AI looks to improve or replace, Dispatch did the opposite. The team built its own art style from the ground up. With a completely new IP, they had nothing to base their design on and still were able to create a unique look. That, coupled with the brilliant animation sequences, all without using AI. The voice acting behind each character was impeccable, with A-listers such as Aaron Paul voicing Robert Robertson and Jeffrey Wright voicing Chase, Laura Bailey and Erin Yvette put in powerhouse performances as Invisigal and Blonde Blazer, and the rest of the cast was filled by great voice acting talent such as Matt Mercer and Travis Willingham, as well as content creators such as Moist Critical, Jacksepticeye, Alana Pierce, Joel Haver. These castings weren't just hired for namesake, they were really involved with their characters. Like when the character of Prism, voiced by the musical artist Thought Squad, during a fight scene is performing Thought Squad's own song, Hose Depressed. With that attention to detail and connection with its voice actors, it's instantly endearing, and it's something that AI could never pull off. And finally, probably the most important differentiator, the writing is not only incredible, but informed by human experience. Take a character like Invisigal. She enters the story as the typical too cool for school superhero, shows no consideration for her team or the people she's supposed to protect, completely out for herself and doesn't care about anything or anyone. But instead of this being her entire character, we come to find out that she really does want to be a good superhero. But after a hard life of everyone around her convincing her that she has supervillain powers, not superhero powers, that she can only ever be a villain, she deep down doesn't believe that she can actually become a real superhero, which leads her to self-sabotage. In one clever bit of character depth, they took a surface level character and turned her into someone that we as players can relate to. And that's what makes Dispatch magical. We can be introduced to a random character with superpowers we will never have, in a world we will never know, and yet we can form a connection with these characters over feelings of loneliness or lack of purpose, or just wanting to be better. That feeling can only be recreated in writing successfully when the person writing has lived it. AI has never felt directionless. AI will never know what it's like to grow up without a parent. So how could it ever write compelling dialogue that conveys that feeling to players? There is a reason why Dispatch has become such a beloved video game. In fact, it's the second highest rated decision-based game on Steam now. And if there's one quality that makes Dispatch shine, it's that it's a game that feels wholeheartedly human. And this concept of human creativity is at the core of this debate around AI in gaming. If the whole industry moves towards AI integration, what room is there for human stories? Why do we even need human creativity at all? That is a question I've had to ask myself a lot when researching this subject. I mean, for all the negatives about these current AI implementations, the world generation stuff kind of got me excited for open worlds that are made with this tool. What is the need for something that is human made when AI can create stuff like this? And then I saw a video from the actor Ethan Hawke that answered my question perfectly.
Most people don't spend a lot of time thinking about poetry, right? They have a life to live and they're not really that concerned with Allen Ginsberg's poems or anybody's poems until their father dies. They go to a funeral, you lose a child. And has anybody ever felt this bad before? How did they come out of this cloud? Or the inverse, something great. You meet somebody and your heart explodes. You love them so much you can't even see straight. You know, you're dizzy. Did anybody feel like this before? What is happening to me? And that's when art's not a luxury, it's actually sustenance.
Art is not something that just exists. On the surface, a game can be just a game. But if a game is made by an indie developer who bases his game on the anxieties they felt after a car accident that involved his daughter, like 2023's The Wreck, a game is no longer just a game, but a nuanced and emotional expression of a real-life experience. It's a window into the life of someone you've never met. And not only can you learn about them, it can also help you learn about yourself. Gaming as an art form can help people connect. It can bring people closer together. But it can also help us answer questions about ourselves. While I don't think many of those at the top of the gaming industry hierarchy very much care about how human the next Call of Duty game is, I'm willing to bet that there are a fair few of you out there that do. And that's why Dispatch has been so successful. Many gamers play games just to escape the day's worries and not think about anything, and that's totally fine. But there are also many that might be going through a tough time and look to gaming as a place of refuge, where you can get a glimpse into the lives of its creators and take something from them. Just like any piece of art. Human games made with soul and passion are like paintings that you can see in a museum, and AI games are just like the digital photos we see of them. It may be a convincing replica, and for some that's enough, but there really is a different feeling that you get when you're playing a game that is made by people that care. So what needs to be done for human creativity to survive in a gaming landscape that looks to suppress it? Realistically, Nothing. Because through the millennia that modern civilizations have existed, there has and always will be a desire to express ourselves authentically. And regardless of how many studios force their developers to use AI, humans will always be at the center of what makes gaming great. AI could restrict gaming in the future. I'm not going to dispute that. But it could also spark some of the greatest creativity that gaming has ever seen. Thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far. If you want to see more, check out this video where we discuss how a game that was made for just $200,000 became the most popular game in the world.